Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I am going to be talking about the December 7th, 2018 new moon in Sagittarius. Now, a new moon in astrology can bring much initiative and enterprise. It could be a very opportune time for discarding what is frivolous and superfluous and moving forward with something but may have prohibited you or inhibited you, held you back previously, now has a greater chance of being discarded. This could be a time where you might have a very a strong abundance and surfeit of energy. This could also be an opportune time for embarking on something new with a new project or endeavor. It could be a time also where your procrastination can come to an end likely. It could be a very revitalizing and rejuvenating period. This could often manifest in very extemporaneous and spontaneous energy. Now, the thing about this too is what I want to talk about too, that remember that there can be certain contraindicators with this energy as well. I mean, if you're having this new moon and you feel like you're not really having the full energy, then you might be experiencing some transits that might be neutralizing this or really modifying this to some degree. It could be, for example, if you have, like, say, transit Neptune making an adverse aspect to your sun, to your Mars, to your ascendant, well, you might be feeling a little bit more indolent, lethargic. You might not feel like you have that energy that you really need at this time. But considering that the new moon will be taking place, that could modify that a little, and that could help you maybe get a little bit more energy than what may have been indicated otherwise. Even transit, like say if you have transit Mars or Sun in your 12th house, that could be a time where you might feel a little bit depleted as far as your energy and vitality goes, and where that energy level may be a little bit dissipated. Now, anyway, what I want to get at too is, as far as this new moon goes, it may collectively impact everybody, but especially people that have the sun, moon, or ascendant in Sagittarius or Cancer. And Sagittarius, of course, because it's going to be in their sign, and Cancer because, well, simply, I mean, the zodiac sign Cancer can be impacted and very sensitive to all phases and transits of the moon, given that the moon does rule Cancer. But a lot of this could be attributed as to why Cancer can be very fickle, moody, temperamental, and changeable. And anyway, well, as far as this new moon in Sagittarius goes, this could be a new period of expanding horizons for many, a new period perhaps where that may be started with much expansive, positive, optimistic, buoyant, and very hopeful energy. It could be a time where some may go on some new exploration or adventure or expedition, or it could be a long distance journey. This could be a time for some where it could be the start of something Sagittarius related, such as, again, going to the adventure exploration. It could be foreign travel. It could even be a new period for maybe people even just simply going outdoors more. If you have like a chart saying that is very introverted and introspective, like mine, for example, this could be a period where you might just be decide to just kind of go outside more and explore maybe just your general surroundings more outside of your home or your general spot where you're in, you know, some kind of solitude or seclusion. This could be a time too where maybe people may start something, again, something Sagittarius related. Could include doing some work as a cruise director, working in foreign affairs publishing, working in translation and interpretation, something with sports or philosophy or religion, doing something connected with advertising or something with the law, such as working as an attorney, a paralegal, a bailiff. And also, and this would be a greater propensity for doing something Sagittarius related as far as like a profession would go. This would be especially true if this was in falls in your second, sixth, or 10th houses, because those are seen as you could say, the money houses in astrology. Now, it could also be a time where you may just become more of a perpetual learner and being that incorrigible optimist, trying to see things more with the glass half full, so to speak, as opposed to the glass half empty. If your chart, of course, is more, if it's more pessimistic as opposed to optimistic, and it's more negative energy, it may be a little bit harder to manifest that energy more positively, but at the same time, it still may be done, but it may be done with a little bit more work and effort. Now, it's also important to look at the house this falls in your natal chart, as this could impact the delineation and interpretation. Now, mine is going to fall in the 7th house. Now, of course, this could manifest in a multitude of ways for me. This might be a new Sagittarius relationship. It could be with the Sagittarius. It could be a sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply a person that embodies Sagittarius-like characteristics, or somebody that might be in some kind of Sagittarius field, I would think, as well. Now, it could also be a period where I just might simply expand the horizons in my relationships, or doing something where I collaborate maybe with perhaps with someone on something Sagittarius, something new that's Sagittarius related that I might do with others, such as something connected with sports. And I mean, I can't do anything to, as far as engage in sports activity, too much vigorous sports activity, but it could be, for example, doing something on YouTube with somebody that could be sports related. And also, too, another thing about this as well, I mean, it's also, I mean, some other examples can be like, say, if somebody has this in the new moon in Sagittarius falls in their 12th house, it could be maybe a new prophetic dream somebody could have in some isolated cases, or a new period of maybe where one may be uplifting others that are less fortunate than themselves, such as people that may be oppressed and impoverished, homeless, or hungry, and doing something to elevate their spirits. What's interesting is that the fact this falls on December 7th, I mean, at this time, that of course is 18 days prior to Christmas, or at least what a lot of people celebrate as Christmas now. And this could be that new period of goodwill for many, and really where you have a lot of this jocular and very positive and optimistic energy, very benevolent and philanthropic energy. And of course, when you have the new moon in Sagittarius, you have the sun in Sagittarius as well. And of course, we have Jupiter currently in Sagittarius. So this really could amplify that really strong, buoyant, and hopeful and optimistic energy, and giving others a lot of hope, a new period of hope for others, not just necessarily yourself, but I think a lot of this energy can apply toward other people as well. Now, another thing too, let's say, I mean, if this were to fall in someone's 5th house, this new moon in Sagittarius, this could be a time where somebody may embark or start on something connected with some sports gambling, or something of a speculative nature that might be tied into sports. But remember that you're going to have the square at this time from the Mars-Neptune conjunction in Pisces. So this could be a time where you have to be careful. This falls in your 5th house and you're trying to do something of a speculative nature, that you may have the tendency to gloss over the details and be over reckless and impulsive, given that it's going to square this Neptune-Mars conjunction. So it's very important to look at that as well. And also, too, it's important to look at the aspects this makes to points in your natal chart, as this could impact the delineation interpretation. Now, mine is going, when this new moon in Sagittarius is going to make a trine to my 4th house, Venus in Leo. Now, for me, I mean, this could manifest a number of ways. This could be auspicious for perhaps maybe some kind of public support. given that the new moon in Sagittarius is going to be in my 7th house, auspicious for public support, perhaps for maybe given that it's going to be a new period of expanding relationships, and those people might be supportive of, I guess you could say, maybe my somewhat extroversion from home doing, I guess you could say, these YouTube videos, and maybe even this new period of expanding relationships might be supportive, maybe of some kind of extravagant home fees, and maybe I get some support as far as that goes. And it could be a very supportive period just in general from from perhaps through this expansion of relationships, that toward the fact that I'm doing, I guess you could say, this gregarious energy, this love of extroversion, this gregariousness from the home, you could say, in terms of the astrology videos, and getting maybe in getting that support from those people for it, that those people might favor that this Venus and Leo energy, this Venus and Leo in the 4th house energy that I have. So anyway, hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, this could also be a time too. I mean, there's also another interesting aspect this is going to make that for me now. This transit new moon in Sagittarius is going to make an inconjunct to my Saturn and Taurus in the 12th house. So when you're talking about an inconjuncts in astrology, they could be, I see them as somewhat adverse. They can be, it could be an adjustment. And given that this is going to, I mean, make that inconjunct to my Saturn and Taurus in the 12th house, this could be perhaps some new, the moon in Sagittarius in the 7th could be maybe some new sports connections, or this expansive or new period of expanding my horizons in terms of my relationships may conflict perhaps with this persistent laborious work and solitude and seclusion and this reclusive tendencies, which of course is a Saturn and Taurus in the 12th house. So there might be an adjustment that might have to be made for that if I'm going to begin to increase these relationships perhaps, and maybe expand my horizons, so to speak, as far as that goes. This could be, this might be an adjustment period to maybe where I might have to be a little bit more extroverted in order to take advantage of this new moon in Sagittarius in the 7th house energy. Now, the thing about it is too, another thing is that looking at the electional aspects are important as well, as this could impact this transit. Now, transit Neptune is going to square the moon at this time, and it's going to, this could give some emotional vacillation with many highs and lows. Now, this could modify, I believe, this abundance and surfeit of energy that could be connected with the new moon ordinarily. And you might find some people that might be succumbing to fantasizing, daydreaming. It might be more, people might be a little bit more lethargic and indolent, as opposed to starting something that could be Sagittarius related. But people also, the fact, I see another way that this aspect may manifest at this time. When you have this Neptune in Pisces conjunct Mars, making the square to the new moon in Sagittarius, I think this might manifest perhaps in some very angry, acrimonious spiritual people being in conflict with people that might be starting to embark on some kind of new religion or philosophical outlook. So another thing too is that this could be about, perhaps there may be some new immigration statute, which is the new moon in Sagittarius, perhaps, versus people that might be fighting for those less fortunate, and people that might be, and really might be over a little bit more passive in terms of standing up for themselves. These could be people that this could represent, the immigrants perhaps, and you might have where there might be some immigration statute which puts more limitations on immigrants, I think. So I think this could be another way that this may pan out at this time. Another thing too, it's also important to look at the aspects that are made to from other transits at this time to points in your chart, as these could be amplified and intensified because we're going to have the new moon at this time. Now, for me, I thought it was interesting is that transit Saturn is going to make an opposition to my Sun in Cancer. Now, the thing about this is that this may modify this exuberance and expansiveness of this new moon in Sagittarius energy, because when you have transit Saturn making an adverse aspect to your Sun, this could be a time where you might feel where your energy and vitality might be a little dissipated and depleted. It might be that maybe you're overburdened or inundated with responsibilities, might be causing this to some degree, or in my case might be causing this to happen to me. And it might even have difficulty doing the most mundane actions at the same time having that new moon in Sagittarius taking place. That could modify that as a little bit and maybe give me a little bit more exuberance and enthusiasm in doing those tasks. Now, the opposition with me is that transit Saturn is going to be in my 8th house and opposing my Sun. So this could be where I might be feeling a little bit despondent and melancholy, might be tied into maybe the restrictions in emotional and moral monetary support from others, which may impact my frame of mind if I'm trying to embark on something that is associated with this new moon in Sagittarius in my 7th house. Now, another thing about it is it might be, given that it's going to oppose my Sun in Cancer, this could be about making some cutbacks perhaps as far as home-related matters go, because I might not be getting that monetary support from others that maybe I felt I might have had previously. Now, also another thing too is that another aspect that's going to be intensified for me, a transit aspect, because it's going to take place at the same time as the new moon. That transit Mercury is in Scorpio, is going to make a conjunction to my natal Neptune in the 7th house. So at this time, this could be a time where this could really be, I think, about maybe having provocative communications on the metaphysical with others at this time. And maybe it might be, given it's a 7th house, it might be tied into relationships, open adversaries, and maybe I'll be talking about how that impacts as far as astrology goes in terms of relationship astrology, or maybe dealing, or maybe where I'm hoping that this, if I'm talking deeply about astrology at this time, that these provocative conversations don't do something in terms of creating any open adversaries, because it's going to fall in my 7th house. But maybe I'll be talking about how it might actually, sometimes these deep discussions about astrology, how it could actually create open adversaries or enemies, because there are a lot of people, of course, that feel that they rebuke astrology because they feel that it's something demonic or what have you. But at the same time, I do believe it is. I think that God put the stars up there for a reason, but that's my own philosophy on it anyway. But anyway, that really is, that's pretty much, it is. But the one last thing I want to talk about is that it's going as far as the Sabian symbols go. This is going to be at 15 degrees Sagittarius. So as far as Sabian symbols go, 15 degrees, this may manifest perhaps in maybe some people exploiting others' generosity to embark on something Sagittarius related. And it could be, and given that there's going to be a square from Neptune at this time, that you have to be careful that some people may use deceptive tactics to do so. So, you may still have a lot of this energy this figure's energy going forward was something Sagittarius related, but with some people, they may be trying to feed off of others in order to actually start what it is Sagittarius related, whether it might be a college education course or what have you, or money that may be needed to take a long distance journey, or whatever it might be that would require some kind of something monetary in order to do it. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my take on the December 7th, 2018 new moon in Sagittarius. And stay tuned next time, where I'm going to be giving you my Aries January 2019 horoscope forecast. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.